Hey everyone, today I've got a bunch of beginner BMX tricks for you. So if you're new to this or just started riding BMX, stick around because you're gonna find this video super interesting. I'm not exactly sure how many tricks I'm gonna share, and the number in the title is just a rough estimate. But hey, there are a ton of tricks to cover. Obviously, there are well-known tricks like the bar spin or tail whip, but I won't be mentioning those since I don't consider them beginner tricks. So if I see this video gets a lot of support, once it hits 1,000 likes, I'll drop part 2 with intermediate level tricks. So if you already know all the tricks I'm gonna mention today, you might wanna drop a like, show some love, and hit that subscribe button because I'm dropping a ton of tutorials this month. Alright, let's get into the video. First trick, and probably the most important one, is the bunny hop. Basically, jump in with your BMX. By the way, this video ain't a full-on tutorial for every trick, I'm just gonna mention them real quick. Same here. For all the tricks I've made tutorials on, I'll drop the links in the description in case you wanna check them out. So yeah, bunny hop, one of the most important tricks. You lift the front wheel first, then the back wheel. Basically, if you don't learn this one, you won't be pulling off most other tricks. I've actually been thinking about making a tutorial on 10 tricks that don't need a bunny hop. Could be pretty cool. The next trick I'd learn is the fakie. That's when you roll backward and then turn back forward. If you're riding with a cassette, it's gonna be a bit easier. As for rolling back, if you're using a free coaster, it's easier to hold it yourself. I always recommend starting with this, because in some ways, it makes fakies a bit easier. There are 2 ways to roll out of it. Not sure if they count as separate tricks, but hey. The first one is the rollback, which is rolling out without hopping, and the second one is the half cap, where you roll backward, hop up with both wheels, and turn. Basically, you mix a fakie rollback with a hop and roll it out. There's not much to it, so it's worth learning both. Another basic trick I learned early on is the one hand. It's just taking one hand off, up to the side, wherever you want. A little extra tip, try to take off the hand on the same side as your front foot. Like, I ride left foot forward, so I take off my left hand. It just makes it a bit easier, especially when you get into tricks like bar spins and all that. A basic foot jump is just sticking your foot on the front wheel without crossing your leg over. So you do that, roll back into a fakie, and it's actually a good way to practice fakie. If you don't have a quarter pipe, you can just use a wall. Hit it, roll back, and boom, there's your fakie. Alright, it's a super basic trick, but it might come in handy for a game of bike. Can. Just kick one leg over the frame and bring it back. This is one of those tricks I can do, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. I actually prefer the double concombre, but I didn't include it here because I feel like it's more of an intermediate trick. But a trick you can try is the no foot. It's just taking both feet off while you're in the air. It's a super simple trick and you might catch someone off guard with it in a game of bike. Back to hand tricks. Can't do a one hand? Well, why not try touching the tire? That's called a tire grab. The tire grab is a pretty easy trick. Just hop, pull the bars into your stomach, and that'll get your hand to the tire. You don't need to grab it though. If you're not in a bowl, you don't get much air time and you could mess yourself up. If you're doing it from a bunny hop, just jump, tap and land. The manual, right? I actually just dropped a tutorial on that. It's a pretty simple balance trick, but yeah, it's gonna be tough at first. Don't stress. It's just about putting in 10-20 hours of practice. I totally recommend checking out the tutorial I uploaded recently, because in that one, I share all the secrets to learning it. Manual made easy. So, I'll drop that video in the description. This is definitely a trick you gotta have on your list. It's super fun, playful, and just straight up awesome. Oh, and yeah, not on purpose, but I'm rocking all yellow today. Like lime yellow or lime green, I don't know. Oh, by the way, there's a freaking RC car track behind me. I really hope you guys can hear it. Technically, this mic should block out all the background noise, but I can hear it loud as hell. So, my bad if it's annoying. Guess I'd have to come super early if I want to film here again. Anyway, you guys already know, do a no foot. So taking your feet off is cool, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to learn the crank flip too. Lately, it's one of the tricks I've been loving the most. Basically, a crank flip is jumping, spinning the cranks and pedals all the way around, and catching them with your feet again. A trick that can help a lot with bar spins, which is on the intermediate trick list, is the chicken bar spin. Like I mentioned in the tutorial, the bar spin one I uploaded recently, it's actually a pretty simple trick. You lift the front wheel, throw the bar spin, and that's how you start building that muscle memory, which is super important. So yeah, I definitely put it on the easy tricks list. You can even throw it oppo, meaning spinning it with your opposite hand. By the way, what even is oppo? I bet a lot of people are wondering that, right? Oppo is basically doing a trick in the opposite direction of what feels natural. So if you usually do a 180 one way, doing it the other way would be oppo. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned the 180 yet. It's one of the most basic tricks too. A 180 is just doing a bunny hop while spinning halfway around, then rolling out with a faki. A super basic tip for the 18-0 is to get used to pulling up the front wheel higher when you bunny hop. That's gonna help you, and little by little you'll start getting that spin down. You can also try 180 oppo, which I personally really like and do a lot. It's the same trick, just in the opposite direction. I don't have a recent tutorial on it yet, but it's one of the next ones I'll be dropping on the channel. That's why you gotta subscribe right now, or you're gonna miss the best 180 tutorial on YouTube. Alright, let's move on to box tricks. That's actually where I'm at right now. So, in my opinion, the easiest grind tricks, so there are 3 of them, the 3 sacred ones, and I'm gonna tell you the order I'd learned them in. First up is the feeble, and you might be thinking, wait, isn't there an easier one? No, for me, the feeble is the easiest. When you're starting out with grind trick, you gotta go super slow and hop onto the ledge from the side. So yeah, you need a decent bunny hop for this one. Obviously not, so you're gonna hop, you're gonna lock in your backpack first and then place your front wheel right on the edge of the ledge. A really good tip is to position your front wheel just right. If you put it too far in, you'll slip out of the feeble instantly and your backpack will slide off. You got to find that perfect balance to hold the grind and pop out smoothly. A grind is basically, in the case of the feeble, turning the wheel in the direction you want to guide the feeble and pop out with a hop. Next up is the double peg, which is pretty simple, but I learned it later. In fact, I learned it after the feeble myself. The double peg would be the same, landing first with the back peg and then with the front one. It doesn't have to be by much of a difference, but more or less I picture it like this. I recommend learning it at first on a ledge, almost still. So you approach the ledge, hop on, lock in, and then pop out. Later, you can try it on a rail. What you have to know is that it's more satisfying, but it can slide inward and you need to be ready to hop out to the side to avoid hurting yourself. After that, we've got the Smith. I've labeled it as an easy trick because it's actually quite easy. Later, there will be grinds that are much more complicated, and the Smith is the same as the feeble but the opposite. You lock in with the front peg and the back wheel comes in. It's a trick that feels a bit scarier because you're more down than up, but it's all about practice. It's not an easy grind to maintain, so don't worry if you lock in the Smith and slide out right away. It's completely normal. And getting out of it is also tricky. You need to add a bit of hop, you have to get the hang of it. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't come out perfectly at first. Just keep practicing and it will get better. Before we move on to the pyramid tricks, which I also think are pretty important to continue improving quickly, I recommend using the code INGLADA at the 360 store. If you want to buy any BMX parts or start building your BMX, that 10% discount can really help you at the 360 store. So link in the description. And also the famous finger BMX, which I'm sure you're going to like. And well, if you want to practice at home, the finger doesn't really help with real BMX, but maybe you won't get bored on a rainy day. So let's move on to the pyramid tricks. Basically, there's the 90, which is instead of doing a 180. So 90, because with an inclined plane, there's less rotation angle. It can be a bit scary if the incline is very steep because you're going to go pretty fast backward, but well, it could work. Next, there's the 270, which is a little shorter to rotate than a 360 on the ground. It's going to help you a lot to learn how to initiate that 360 and then do it on the ground. In fact, for me, learning to do the 270 very high was key to then doing a very high 360 on flat. Then you can practice tricks like the crank flip tire grab. There are many tricks you can transition from flat to the pyramid, and the 360 would be an easy medium trick. Well, the answer is that the 360 pivot, meaning a 180, you land on the back wheel and finish the rotation. I'd categorize it as an easy trick, but doing it flat, meaning landing with both wheels at the same time, I'd categorize that as medium. It's not hard at all. First, practice the 360 by transitioning from a 180 rotation, and later on, I'll make a tutorial. In fact, I need to make a tutorial on the 360 to make it look really smooth. Yeah, that will be after the 180, which I'll bring soon. I think I haven't left out any easy tricks, but if I missed any, please leave a comment and let me know which one I missed, because I'm sure I've left out some tricks, but I've mentioned the most basic, the easiest ones. There are always some weird tricks. The X-up, for example, is a trick you can also learn, which is jumping, spinning the handlebars, and coming back. A piece of advice is to grab the handlebars a little more inward. It's easier to do the rotation. I had finished the video and I forgot. The nollie, which is doing the opposite of a bunny hop, lifting the back wheel first and then the front wheel. It's useful for getting out of some grinds and for flowing. So, well, and I think that's it. Honestly, there's not much mystery to what I've explained. Good luck, lots of encouragement, subscribe to the channel, and lastly, download the City Legends app. I'll leave the link below. The best app to find, the best skate parks and places to ride, totally for free, so download the spot map below, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. See you, good luck, bum fresh.